Welcome into the Fit Parent Podcast. I am Jeff Dalzell. I'm here with Amy.
Hello.
Happy December.
Ugh.
Well, what?
Ugh. The elf arrived.
My mom asked me the other day if we were going to do Elf on a Shelf, and I said no.
Yeah,
and if you do it, I'm disowning you. Like, I'm walking away.
My mother gave it to him when she was 4 or 5, so yeah.
No, we had to make... Everybody who I've talked to was like, Elf on a Shelf is terrible. Don't do it.
Especially as they get older, because guess what? We're not getting her candy advent calendar anymore. That's just not cool enough. She has the Sephora advent calendar. I'm like, that's like my entire Christmas budget just got spent on something you open.
I literally I looked at it last night and I was like, it gets so out of hand. I'm
So
like,
out
even if you do like a reasonable amount, I'm like, at what point do I stop buying stuff for like my parents and my in-laws and my brother-in-law and my brother and my future sister-in-law? Because it's I have the 3 kids and Megan and I. I'm like, if I just do those people, if I just do the immediate family, there's the 5 of us.
Yeah.
Plus the 5 or 6, 7 other people, right? So that's 12. And if you just did, like, if you did $50 a person, it's $600, and you can't
out of control.
And it's like really difficult to do. I'm like,
I had that conversation with my brother and sister this year. We haven't done gifts for John's siblings in years, probably a decade, because they all have kids, and like that's where our money was going, because we have 6 nieces
cousins
and nephews on that side, so like that they get the money. But I had to have that conversation with my brother and sister this year, because I'm like, listen, guys, I'm spending hundreds of dollars on things for you guys that I don't even think you're using and or like, and I'd rather buy gifts for your children and be able to like really enjoy spending money on them for things that they will enjoy, instead of having to really budget, because
so that's the other hard part, is like my brother-in-law or my brother and his girlfriend are doing it, like they're getting stuff for our kids, and then I'm like, yeah, they're not really getting stuff for us, or they are. If they are, it's like something very cursory, because their money's going to the kids, and so we're getting stuff for them, kind of like from the, I'm like, this is just silliness.
Yeah, but we are all on the same page. My brother and sister are all on the same page. We're like, oh, thank God, someone finally said it. Yeah. It's like any one of us could have been the one to be like, hey, let's stop buying gifts for each other.
Yeah. Well, like it's December 2nd as we record this, and which is a little bit later because we didn't record last week. So I'm gonna double up this week, and we'll get back. Get back out in front. We're not necessarily. I'll do one. Jeff. If you want to join me, for the second one, you can. But I can do one just solo if you want to.
Buddy, I am hardly recovered from this weekend.
Yeah, but it was doing all the shopping and all the kind of stuff, and so. All right. Well, buckle up, because today is not holiday related. Today is going to feel a little bit out of left field, but we are going to talk about it because I've been talking about it with a lot of my clients.
I'm ready.
So today we're talking about periods.
Why? I love when men try to talk about women things. It's my favorite.
I'm not trying to mansplain. I promise you that I'm not trying to mansplain. But I think if you've been around for a minute, I think I've been able to do women forward topics with some tact and with a decent amount of valuable information, right?
You know far more than the average bear when it comes to female problems and things that we get to deal with.
Well, and again, I don't like to flex credentials or anything like that, but I think it's important as I step into any of these topics to remind people. I have coached hundreds of women. That's not an exact, hundreds of women. I've talked to over 1,000 women about their fitness and health. I have multiple certifications surrounding women's health, extensive personal research on it, and years in the field of navigating this with my in the field of like.
I thought you were talking about with Megan.
No,
I was like, wow. That's
no. Well, I've also married, right? Like been married for a while. Yeah, we're coming up on 10 years married, but I've also been doing this for over 6 years. and coaching women. And so there's things that I want to discuss with like what are the logistics of it, but I want to give some like really tactical strategies. Like I want this to be super tactical, information first, but then tactics on the back half for things that I've been doing with my clients, or like my clients have been doing, that have been a really positive thing for them. Both from a mindset perspective, but also a strategy perspective in terms of what it is that we're doing. So all that being said, you ready?
I'm ready.
Buckle up, kiddos.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
But this is like just anecdotally, if you would have told 9 years ago, Jeff, the amount of time that I would spend talking about these things and the amount that I would know and understand about them, I would have like it's surprising. It's surprising the amount that I know and the amount that I talk about it, but it's so important. And the idea, like, I have clients, and I'll tell this story from the beginning. And I think you and I had this interaction fairly early on. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time when I have this with almost everybody where it's like, oh my gosh, the scale spiked. And I don't know why. Like I've eaten really well and the scale spiked, and it's just been kind of climbing recently, and now it's spiked, and I have like no energy and I feel terrible, and I'm like, you're on your period, aren't you? And they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, I've been doing it for a long time, and also it's not necessarily an original story. Like everybody kind of goes through it, but also like this is important information for me to know. And I also oftentimes have clients being like, this might be TMI, but I'm on my period. I'm like, nope, that's
actually very
bare minimum information that I need. Like it is important for me to understand where we are in this because it impacts so many different things. So I want to start with like high level, what is that we're looking at and why we see the spikes and why we see the energy flows and all of that, right? And again, trying not to mansplain, but I think it's important for us to like have context for it. So I want to do this through the lens of what happens with your weight on the scale, because I think that is first, and then we'll go to how we feel and what we do on the heels of it. But I think that's kind of first things first. So your weight fluctuates throughout your cycle. Like if you did everything else exactly the same, your weight on the scale would still fluctuate. Does that mean that your body composition, that is, you are gaining fat or losing fat during that period of time? No, that is water weight due to the ebbs and flows of your hormones throughout your cycle. So we'll start there and what actually happens. I will also say that while that does happen, there are other things that come with the hormones, cravings, lack of energy, all of those kinds of things. That and leaning into that can cause body fat to go up and down. So it might not be all water weight, depending on what you're doing. But there is certainly a water weight factor. So remember that our cycle is split into two phases, the follicular phase and the luteal phase. All right. Follicular phase is preparation for ovulation. Luteal phase is preparation for menses. All right. It's kind of like line of demarcation is ovulation. And so we have different hormones that go up and down. There's estrogens, progesterone that go up and down throughout your cycle, and they ebb and flow, and they are going to cause different things. And so follow me with kind of the journey of the 28 days. Okay. So let's start it with kind of day one or the last day or two prior, really days like if it's on a 28-day cycle, which it never is, but let's just imagine that it is, like pretty generic. Days 26, 27, 28, that is going to be the peak water weight that you have. That's PMS. That's like when you feel bloated, when you feel terrible, and you're like, I feel bloated. Bah. And all of that makes all the sense in the world. You're bloated because you have a lot of water weight right before your period. And your period happens, and it's kind of like that's kind of day one of it is kind of starting to lose a little bit of the water weight, and then it goes down throughout your period, and then the first kind of days after that. to the point where your actual lowest point of water weight retention of your cycle is like 4 to 7 days after your period starts, sort of thing. Like, if you think about it, like, again, ease of numbers, right? Day 1 of your cycle is like when your period starts. If ovulation's on day 14 and then it starts again on day 28, day like 7, a quarter of the way through, 7, 8, 9 is going to be the lowest point in terms of water weight in your cycle. That's going to be when everything's kind of flushed out. So if you're like, when is going to be the time that I'm the least bloated and I'm
when
feeling,
am I going to weigh myself?
When am I going to weigh myself the least? It's like 3 days after you're like kind of coming on the heels of your period. Then you get a little bump during ovulation, like leading up to and down from ovulation, not to the same peak that you have during PMS, but you get a little peak in water retention during that, which makes sense because your body is preparing for ovulation, right? It's preparing, like that's what your body is trying to do. And then it goes, all right, we didn't connect, we didn't, I don't know, inseminate or whatever you want to call it. Can't think of a better word. Like no connection. I don't know why my brain's farting on it. If you have the word that I'm looking for, let me know. But then it dips back down again, not quite as low as it did post-period around day 7, 8, 9. But again, now down around days 20, 21, 22, we're going to get like a second low, but not quite the lowest, right? A second valley. And then it starts to climb again as you do PMS, premenstrual, and climb up in preparation for the next cycle. So again, mountains, like think about this as 2 mountains, 2 valleys. Okay. The 2 mountains are days 1 and 14, roughly, right? Period start or like right before period start and ovulation. Okay. The period start or PMS one is going to be higher than the ovulation one, but they're both of the mountains. The lowest one is around days 7, 8, 9 after period before ovulation. Other valley is going to be after ovulation before PMS. But again, that's not quite as low. So one, from an expectations perspective, you can see this. And now everybody is different because everybody's hormones are different. And as a side note, I think I talked about this on several, like balancing your hormones is a little bit of an odd thing to say. Your hormones are not actually meant to be balanced. They're actually meant to be out of balance. But so anybody who's saying like, hey, balancing your hormones, like that's not a thing. Like that's not something you should be chasing. But having your hormone levels be regulated and in proper proportion to each other, like proportion your hormones, that's a thing, right? And so you might be higher on estrogen, higher on progesterone, higher on testosterone. Any of those different things might be happening. And so everybody's going to have different lengths of durations of their cycle. Perimenopause, menopause adds a whole nother wrinkle to this because those can extend, right? I have perimenopausal clients who like have a period every 3 months or something like that. And so this cycle is all kinds of janky. So again, this isn't apples to apples, but let's just take this as a simple example of it. But again, even the levels of it, you can get more or less fluctuations. So like I had a client who from peak to valley, there was early on with us, it was 12 pounds.
Ooh.
Like she would have a 12-pound fluctuation in like a 7 to 10 day span, which is wild.
It's wild. And it's going to mess with you.
It 100% did. It messed with it mentally. And all of a sudden, like her body's feeling, you know what I mean? And so one of the goals early on for her was like, this is the math teacher in me, we got to reduce the amplitude here. You know, we got to reduce the volatility.
I haven't heard that word in a while.
Yeah. Like how big and small are these spikes? Because 12 pounds is a lot. Like it's understandable to have some, and what is too much? I don't, you know, like you have to kind of decide that for yourself and your body is going to do it. But like, it's enough to go like, we shouldn't be seeing a different second number, you know?
Right.
152 to 164
Right.
in a 10-day span is like, oh my goodness. For her, it was a real challenge because if there was anything else during that 2-3 day span at the bottom of the valley that might have caused a water weight spike, she's like, I got to wait a whole nother month before I see anything even remotely close to that to know where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one, if you're seeing those crazy changes in volatility, some of that was not just her hormones. Some of that was what she was doing when she was in PMS, that was those things were causing her to retain some more water or have some more food in her system, those types of things. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But the other part of it was like she just had like way she was eating. There were some things that we could do to be like, hey, let's just kind of again regulate these a little bit more with what we were doing. But she was always going to have more volatility than maybe somebody else. Like somebody might have 6 pounds, somebody might have 3 pounds, somebody might have really not a lot, and that just depends. And it's not better or worse necessarily to have it. Like I would argue that having no fluctuation is an indicator to the contrary, right? Like if you have no fluctuation, then you're not proportioned with your hormones and regular with your hormones in the other direction, which is going to cause other health issues down the road. So just because you don't have that fluctuation doesn't mean all of a sudden it's like, oh, I lucked out. Mine are the way that they're supposed to be. Like you should be having some. You should be having some. And again, this is something where, you can go to an endocrinologist or something like that, somebody who's going to be doing those types of hormones or your PCP or stuff like that. You should not, let me be clear on this, you should not be listening to somebody on the internet who has any sort of supplement that balances, regulates whatever it is your hormones. Those are a waste of money, sometimes outright dangerous, and those people suck. I'm not like
they're preying on you. They're preying on your weakness.
They're preying on weakness and like they suck. Okay. And the problem is that you'll feel like they work because they're not doing the thing that they say that they're doing. Okay. Like hormones are a complex thing that are not fixed by a supplement magically. Okay. So let's be clear on that. And this is not a hormone episode necessarily where I'm talking about whatever it is. And I think that it's important for us to recognize that those are something, but those are oftentimes, again, in the 10%, and the 90% is what we do with the rest of our time, like navigating it. And so again, this client that I had hormones that were a little bit out of proportion, but we were able to bring that a lot more into reasonable stuff with just behavior, not with supplementation, not with injections of stuff, none of that. Like we were able to do a lot of that with just nutrition and lifestyle and all of that. So recognize that that's something. So that's a challenging thing to navigate. And again, if you want to go back and listen to the episode, it's probably in the 30s, like episode in the 30s or 20s. I don't remember how long ago we did this. It's probably 2 years ago. We did the episode of like why it's harder for women to lose weight than men.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
It was a while ago. It was one of the early ones that you and I did together. It might've been the first one that you and I did together. There's a reason why. This is one of the reasons why, like, because from a physiological standpoint, which we'll talk about just in a second, but from a mental standpoint here from the jump is where I want to talk about it. It is difficult to just tell yourself not to care about the scale, particularly if you've cared about it for a long, long time. And it's difficult for you to rationalize the fact that you're seeing a spike on the scale that's not necessarily due to any of your behaviors, and you might have done things really well in line with what you need to do in order to lose weight, to lose fat, and to still see the scale go up, and then not feel like you're doing something wrong or that your body's broken or whatever it is. Like, I don't care how long you've been doing it. I don't care any of that. Like, it is still a mental game of gymnastics that is difficult for a lot of people to navigate. So
100%.
It's important that we understand this. And then it's also important that we do this from a tactical perspective. If we're going to use the scale, what do we need to do in order to make this not, at least be less likely to jack with us mentally? Okay. So if you're going to weigh yourself every day, so one, maybe don't weigh yourself. I'll just throw that out there as an idea. Like, just don't weigh yourself really ever. Use measurements, how your clothes fit, progress photos, energy, like tons of other ways, both quantitatively and qualitatively, to measure your progress that is not the scale. And again, we've seen that the scale can lie to you. I've done numerous episodes on that, like why the scale can lie to you. And this is one of them, right? Where you could do something exactly the same and still see fluctuations day to day. I have documented this for myself a lot of times. I will do another fat loss phase, which I haven't done in over a year, I think. I don't think I've done one since last Christmas time, I don't think. Maybe I did like a 2 or 3 week one over the summer. I don't remember, but I'll do another one in like March, I think, leading into next summer, where I'll document it on my social media, and you'll see the day-to-day fluctuations of the scale sometimes when I do everything right. And so it is challenging to see it. And so I would recommend, first, if you can just don't. Right? If you can get away from it, just don't do it. If you need to do it with some sort of frequency, you can do it every 4 weeks or every 2 weeks. If you are doing it more frequently than 2 weeks, you have to do it every day. You can't see that. Yes, you cannot do it less than 2 weeks with a frequency and do it less than every day, because you're going to catch a weird day. Like if you do it every 2 or 3 days, you're just going to, and this is the other thing. And we just do this. We're going to weigh ourselves either one when we've like right after Thanksgiving and be like, what was the damage? And then we're going to feel terrible about ourselves. Or we're going to weigh ourselves after a day or two of doing things right and have an expectation in our head of like, oh, I should have lost weight. And if for one of the 8 reasons that the scale didn't go down, that has nothing to do with the body weight or the body fat part of it happens, then you're going to feel discouraged and feel like it doesn't work. So you have to do it every day. If you can't do it every day and emotionally be cool with the fact that there are going to be some days where you do everything perfectly right and the scale goes up, then you have to do it less frequently. I'm just telling you that right now.
We were talking at dinner last night, and John was like, oh, you should weigh yourself today, because really, really terrible weekend. Drove down to New York City Friday night to see Harry Potter on Broadway Saturday. Got food poisoning Friday night. Was in the hospital Saturday. Missed the show. Oh my
gosh.
So I haven't consumed. I know, it sucked. It sucked so bad.
Oh my gosh. It was devastating. But how do we not lead the show with that?
Because I'm emotional about it, Jeff.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. That's
so
fair.
I honestly have not consumed more than 2,000 calories since Friday. So John's like, you should weigh yourself now. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because that is going to mess with me even more.
Well, so
he's like, you should see how much you lost. I'm like, I don't know how much I started with because I don't weigh myself. So like getting on the
here's
scale
the
now
other
is
thing.
not gonna do
I'm gonna kick John right in the teeth right now. So there's 4 things wrong with that.
So
one,
much. Other than that, he stayed with me in the hospital and also missed the show.
Lovely,
good guy.
Good for him. All right, but 4 things wrong with that logic. Okay, number 1 is there's a bunch of things that, like, possible scenarios. You step on the scale, you're expecting it to be down, and it's not down because you've only been eating saltines and drinking Gatorade for a little bit, so you're just holding on to all the water. I gained weight during a fat loss or during a stomach bud on the scale because I just was holding on to so much water.
So much.
2, you lost a bunch of weight, but you didn't really lose a lot of body fat. You might have lost a little bit of body fat because you haven't been eating a lot of food, but you lost mostly just everything that's in your system. It's just a factory reset on everything that's in the thing. Like you're at any given point, you guys are like, you're walking around with 4, 5, 6, 8 pounds of just food and bile and stuff like that in your system right now. Like if you just flushed it all out, this is why those like detox teas and everybody's like, oh my gosh, they work so well. It's like, no, you just pooped it all out.
You're just emptying your stomach. You're
just
emptying the contents of your stomach and intestines. That's
just
cleaning yourself out.
Yeah, just colonoscopy factory reset, basically. And so that's those 2 things. So then if you're in that scenario and you are down, then when you start eating a little bit, you're going to kind of balloon back up and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're Emily Blunt from The Devil Wears Prada. Like, I'm one more stomach.
Last night and I talked about you. I said it in her accent. Just one stomach flew away from my goal weight.
I
like,
love that line so
it's so
much.
good.
It's like one of my favorites as a nutrition and fitness coach. I'm like,
it's
it's
so
just
good because
the
it's so bad, but
definition
it's so good.
of chaos.
Well, and then it was like literally, felt like I was gonna pass out, but I'm on such a limited diet that I'm allowed to eat right now per
Yeah.
doctor's orders. But I was standing in front of the fridge, and my mother-in-law had bought cubes of cheese, so I was like, another Emily Blunt line from the same movie.
Just
like,
eat a cube of cheese.
When I feel like I'm about to pass out, I just eat a cube of cheese. So I ate a cube of cheese, and I didn't pass out, and it was great.
Gosh,
it's been a terrible few days.
Okay, I understand now why you were so like. I was like, why are you so like? Because you're not normally like. I would have thought that you would have been like, yay, December, like Christmas, like that would have been my expectation going into it. And so,
well, so I'm still not back in my house, and we found out
Yeah.
we're not going to be back in probably till mid-January, where we're supposed to be already. So it's going to be fine. It's fine. They haven't even started. Except they demoed. So we're 8 weeks in, and they've only done demo, but it's fine.
I don't know why it's coming out all squeaky, but it's fine.
What movie was that?
That's Friends. That's Ross. When he finds out that Joey and Rachel, I'm fine. Fajitas.
Oh, man.
Just right down that rabbit hole right there.
I needed to laugh, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It may have sapped all my energy, so I think I'm just going to sit here.
Just sit here. So yeah, lots of. I did a video about it, like when people weigh themselves when they come back from vacation. It's like this is just dumb. Like that it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be bad.
I did that
like you
one
feel
time
bloated.
back from Italy, but I was like, I'm just curious because all I did was eat pasta and drink wine.
Yeah. If you wanna do it out of curiosity and you like genuinely are gonna be okay with it, but like that's a little bit like holding your hand over the flame of a candle and just hoping that it hurts. Like it's probably gonna hurt. Like at some point it's gonna hurt.
Yep.
So all of that to say, if you're going to weigh yourself, this is the final tip. And I did this in an Instagram reel. If you're going to weigh yourself every day, then you need to compare apples to apples, right? If you compare your peak, like the day before your period, to your valley, day 7, 8, and you're like, last month, right? Let's just use some numbers, right? Let's say that today, December 2nd, was like you're getting your period tomorrow, right? That is your peak water retention right now. And you step on the scale and you're like, I'll just pick a number. I'm 150 pounds on the scale. Okay. But then if I looked at, because I was infrequently doing it or whatever it is, 3 weeks ago at my valley, right? The week before ovulation at my valley, I was 146. You're going to be like, I'm going backward. And it's like, nah, not really. Like, it's tough to know that. What I want you to do is instead of comparing the 146 valley number to the peak number 150, wait 7 days and compare valley to valley. What were you at your lowest last month? And then if you're at 150, what was your peak? Where were you on November 4th? Like what were you at your peak that time? That is going to be informative for us about what tells us, like, we have to compare apples to apples. So you compare peak to peak, valley to valley, and like average weekly weight to average weekly weight, but average weekly weight like around your period, around ovulation, around, you know what I mean? And so if you have a dysregular period, like if you don't have a cycle that is on some sort of like regular occurrence, then just screw the scale. Just screw it. Like, just not even useful information for you at that point. Like, you can do it every 4-6 weeks out of curiosity if you want to, but like, it's just not good information. Because again, I have clients who are like, I'm down 3 pant sizes and a bra size, and my clothes are all loose, but the scale's about what it was. And it's like, I mean,
maybe that's not the best indicator.
And I'm like, maybe, I mean, you're making my argument for me. Like, who cares? At some point, like the number, like, do you care what the number says on the thing, Or do you care? Because there's, like, I'll be honest with you. I have had conservative estimate 250 consultation calls at a minimum. 250 consultation calls, hour-long consultation calls with people about their fitness. It's probably higher than that. It's probably 300 or 400. And I've coached, again, in terms of total people that I've coached between in person, and it's well over 600 at this point. I've never had somebody tell me when they say what the goal weight is, that number just means everything to me. Because I ask them, okay, what about why that number? And they're like, well, that's when I feel my best. When do you feel your best? I feel my best in like clothes. I feel good in pictures. Like that's what we really like. If I told you tomorrow you looked in pictures the way that you wanted to look and you fit into clothes that you wanted to fit into and you felt confident in your body, but the number on the scale was the exact same, you would sign up for that in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And I also tell this story. I weigh on the scale right now the same that I did when I was in my worst shape ever. It just looks different. Mm-hmm. So the number matters much less. So if we're not chasing that, then let's use better indicators. Like it's just data. Like let's have it be data. And remember that the data is not a value of whether or not you are good or bad. It's information, right? It's information, not indictment. It is going to tell us what do we need to do differently. Because if the scale, for instance, doesn't go down valley to valley, or measurements don't go down valley to valley, or peak to peak, or whatever it is, and it's a 4-week period, or even a 2-week period, then we got to do something different. Like, it doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're doomed. It just means that you're not doing the right stuff, right, or you're not doing it enough, right? This comes back to the consistency and effectiveness issue that we talk about ad nauseum. It's like, if the results aren't what they're looking for, then change the inputs, like do something different. And so it's not a matter of how good or bad you are. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening out of your control. The other things that happen out of your control, but impact things that are in your control. Okay. PMS, you feel terrible, right? What do we, you don't feel good. Like
I just get mad.
You get mad at the world. Mad at the world. Like you don't feel good. You have low energy. Like you have cravings, whatever it is. And again, we want to ride the line between grace and grit. We want to ride the line between having realistic expectations and playing the victim. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because if we're like, at the end of the day, it's your circumstances. Right? It's what you have to deal with. So if you want it, like we have to deal with it. We have to find a way through it. It doesn't mean it's not hard, right? And again, I'm not going to compare one thing to the other, but like everybody always asks me when they find out like we had 3 kids under 2 or we have twins, like anybody like, oh, do you have kids? I'm like, yeah, we have 3 kids. Oh, wow. Like what are their ages? Well, we got a 5.5-year-old and twin 40-year-olds. And they're like, oh, wow. Like any, like dead serious. That face, that time. Wow, every single time. They're like, oh, wow, you got your hands full, right? Yeah, I do, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do you do that? You do it because those are my circumstances. Those are our circumstances. What Megan and I, like, we do it because it's what the hand that we're dealt. Like, it's what we have to do. This is the hand that you're dealt. So you can complain about it and be the victim, or we can try to navigate through it. That does not mean that I cannot say to Megan or a friend, like, it's hard. Mm-hmm. Like, or I come on here and I'm like, we're having a hard time. Mm-hmm. Like it can be hard and you could feel hard and you still have to deal with it. And so let's figure out how we deal with it. So the thing that we don't want to do is pretend that it's not going to happen. Right? We're in PMS time frame and we pretend that it's not going to happen, and we're just like, all right, I'm just going to do my normal workouts, I'm going to eat the exact same way, and like I'm going to be right on track, and it's going to be like nothing happened. Right? That's ignorance that inevitably leads you to failure. That's burying your head in the sand and not being aware of your circumstances. That would be like me taking my 3 kids by myself to like an amusement park. Mm-hmm.
Let
and
me
I'll be
loose in
like,
Canopy Lake.
it'll be fine. Like, no, it won't be fine. Like, could it be fine? Maybe. Most likely, not going to be fine.
Slim chance.
Like,
Slim chance.
most likely, it's like worst case, like best case scenario, like we're navigating it and I'm stressed the whole time. Worst case scenario, I lose a kid, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not totally in my control. So like, let's not have realistic expectations. But I also can't not do anything fun because I have 3 kids. All right. And so there's ways for me. So what would I do if I was like, hey, we really want to go to Canopy Lake Park, which we don't want to do, but let's just say that we want to do it.
It's actually really fun. I avoided it for a long time. I took him this summer. It was a blast. I didn't go on any of the rides. Well, I went on Turkish Twist and I almost threw up because I'm 44 now.
I'm not a big ride guy.
It was my favorite ride when I was a kid. But that was before whatever shift happens in your body and you can no longer tolerate rides.
I can't stand rides like the pirate ship where you like lose your stomach up there. Yeah. Like I can't stand those rides. Like those ones make me feel so sick.
Yep.
Like the drop rides. Like I can kind of do roller coasters. I don't love them, but like I can I'm not a big rides guy. I'm not like, I'm pretty lame. I'm a lame person. I'm just going to say that. Like, I'm a pretty lame human being.
Do you like to drive the antique cars?
I do like to drive. I love bumper cars. Like, I would do bumper cars till the cows came home.
Oh, see, I love like that. I don't like the jarring.
I like that at all. Well, that's like the football in me. I'm like, give me the whiplash. Who cares? And I like carnival games. Like, I love chucking, like, how fast can I throw the ball and see if I can win the, whatever.
Squirt the squirt gun into that teeny tiny hole over there.
Yeah,
that's a fun game.
That's my game.
Wow, we get off track.
So if I wanted to take the kids to Canopy Lake Park, I would need a different plan than if I had 1 kid or even 2 kids or my kids were older, right? I just would need a different plan. Whether I'm going to bring somebody with me, or I'm going to get a sitter for the twins and I'm just going to bring Levi. Like, I just need a different plan so that I'm set up for success. Like, I need to have realistic expectations, not play the victim where I'm not going to do anything, but I need to accommodate for that version of me, right? Like, do my future self a favor and set myself up for success. So,
plan from man-on-man defense when you're at a place like that. Not
100%. No, 100%. Here's the other piece. So let's think about this from the perspective of periods. Flip side of how you feel during PMS is like how you feel during ovulation and like leading up to ovulation. You feel great. Like
I'm
you could
take
on the world.
I look amazing. My skin looks great.
Everything.
I feel beautiful. My hair looks good every day.
All of it. That's all the stuff, right? That is the week leading up to and through ovulation. Like, that 7 to 10 days, you feel great. So I've given this analogy before with like the stock market stat. You remember where it's like, if you miss the average return on the stock market over a 30-year period was like nearly 12%. If you miss the 10 best days, individual days during a 30-year period, it drops from 11% down to like 3%. If you miss the 30 best days, it drops to negative 3%. And again, I'm rounding here, but that's what it is. Which means that most of the work is done on these peak days, and the rest of the days is just kind of maintaining. Okay? So let's take advantage of the peak version of you and do PMS and period you a solid. Okay? So this is like super tactical strategy. Make period meals. Make ahead period meals. During ovulation, when you have like all the energy world can take on the world, make 1 or 2 meals ahead of time and freeze them. Then when your period starts or PMSing and you feel terrible and you have no energy and you don't want to cook and whatever it is, you pull them out. And you have some meals that are ready made for you that are going to be in line with what you want to do. Because again, when you're tired and whatever it is, it's like, we don't want to cook. You want to know what you don't want to do when you're PMSing? You don't want to cook for the family. You want to be like, you guys just freaking figure it out. That's what you want to do. Like, just figure it out. Growing up. Like, yourself. We're going to do, and I'm going to eat things that make me feel good. Right? And so, because we're going to do what's easiest, most comfortable, convenient, and feels good at the time. So if I have something easy, convenient, and is actually going to potentially make me feel good, but I can do it to like steer into it a little bit. So like make a good soup. You know what I mean? Don't make like, salmon or something like that you're not going to want to eat, but like make a hearty chicken noodle soup and put it in the fridge that like you're going to want to eat. It's going to be comforting, whatever it is, but it's quality. Like if put a bunch of veggies in it, delicious. And all you got to do is just warm it up. And we're like, hey, we're ready for dinner. Everybody else is ready for dinner. I don't have to worry about it. Like I'm good. And the other piece of it is this is what happens because I talked about the yes sandwich on one of these episodes recently, right? Where I talk about like, hey, eat a meal before you're going to enjoy your indulgent meal and then plan the meal afterward. The reason why the meal before is so important is it reminds you as you go into a challenging time, like, well, I planned for this from a mentality perspective. Because again, when you're starting to feel like you could go down the victim route, you could be like, oh no, this was expected. And past me planned for this. Like, thank you, past me. Go you. Like you did something really solid to make me well set up for the logistics of doing it. Because again, we talked about the challenge is not, the meals that you're making at home aren't high enough quality. It's the fact that you're not eating meals at home. It's not that, during my period, it's all these crazy things. I eat 10,000 calories worth of chocolate. Like but you're not eating all that. You're eating that because you're not eating anything else good. If you had a quality meal and you're not then trying to fill up on that, you could still have the treat, the chocolate, whatever it is that you crave. Like you could still have that be part of it, but you're not doing it to fill yourself.
Right. You're not going to eat 30 pieces. You'd be satisfied with one or two.
Because you're not eating out of hunger, you're eating out of craving desire. Right. And so I have these things made ahead. And so I'm taking advantage of peak version of me to make future me be in a good spot, or do the make ahead meals, or like, shout out Tempo again. Like if we have those meals, it's like, listen, don't have to think, like we have a high quality meal that's not, I don't have to cook. I don't have to be in the kitchen right now. Like it's just made for me and I planned for it ahead of time. It's like when I walk downstairs in the morning and all the dishes are put away and all the laundry is done.
Thanks,
like,
last night, me.
Like when all the laundry's done and I go in the morning to like grab clothes for the kids and I can literally just open up their drawer and I'm like, pants, shirt, Charlie, done. Versus have to carve through the 7 bundles of laundry. Like the difference between that version of me and my mood going into the day and the version of me that is digging through laundry baskets is entirely different, because it's like, oh, I expected this. And I set myself up for success. So like, let me set myself up for success. When you feel like it's not, and again, I'm not saying like you have to do everything, but just like make a couple of, like a big pot of soup one day and then make, a pasta dish another day with some chicken in it that you just reheat, or whatever it is that you like, right? And you just reheat it. And so you have enough for like, gets me through my last 2 days of PMS, my first couple days of my period. When I feel terrible, I have something going for me. I have something going for me that like makes me feel positive. I also can anticipate that those are maybe going to be like when I'm planning my yeses throughout the week, throughout the month, probably bank 1 or 2 for that week, because there's going to be some things where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to want this.
You're going to need it.
But again, you kind of have a plan for what it might be. The other piece of it too is like, what's going to feel really difficult during that period of time? Anything super high intensity, just anything, just but like anything. Particularly anything super high intensity. Yeah. Right? Like you're not going to hit a personal record on your weights that week. You're just not going to.
Those exercises always feel like a slog.
Yeah, you
can't box jump because you just can't.
Yeah. So
it's insane for all the men.
So again, do the you're working up to it. Have your peak days being the the ovulation window. But as you get closer and closer to it, I'm not saying don't do it or like expect whatever, but like have a realistic expectation of what it is that you're doing and go in and be like, you know what, the weight really doesn't matter today, but I'm showing up to move my body. Because again, even when you're on your period, you've never had a workout where you're like, I regretted doing that. Like you can just, as long as you don't try to push yourself past the depletion. Right. So again, I'm saying like take weights off. If you did 30s for 8 reps and you are day 27, 28 of your cycle and you did 30s for 8 reps last week, grab the 20s. Like grab the 20s. Like you might be like, that feels like just, it's not about that workout. It's about just keeping your head above water a little bit during that in terms of the habits and the momentum. Because again, what's more important than the workout that we do that day is the workout that we do the next week. And one, you'll move your body, you'll feel a little bit better in the moment. It's like working out when you're sick. Like it doesn't feel great, but it's helps you kind of move through it, get your blood flowing a little bit. But from a momentum perspective, it becomes a lot easier for you to do the workout the next week because you did one that week. From a physical perspective, 100%. We talked about this from a recovery, because it's like, hey, I'm not trying to do this for the first time in 2 weeks. But from a mindset perspective, this is the other thing. If you take 7 days off every month, that's a quarter of the time. Which would mean you would have to be flawless the rest of the time in order to even sniff any progress. And that's not realistic either. So we have to be able to do something during that time. It can't just be, I'm going to write it off. And it also can't be, that's just kind of a meh, like totally meh time. Like we still have to be doing things that are more, it's not about, I'm going to make a ton of progress during those days, but I'm setting myself up for success the next week and the week after and the week after, because I'm carrying forward momentum rather than restarting after every time. Because again, this is what happens at some point. Every time that you have to restart, you stop getting yourself up to restart, because starting's the hardest part. Starting's the hardest part. So the other thing is, and this is what I say when people are sick, like if you're working out, if you're sick or whatever it is, like 90% of what you would do to lose body fat or whatever it is, you would help you with being sick, right? Like think about the mechanics of fat loss. The only one that you don't really want to be doing is being a calorie deficit. Like you're probably not in a massive calorie deficit when you're sick, just like you're probably not in a massive calorie deficit during your period. That's fine. Like maybe you are a day or two, but it's less important than you are. You're going to want to eat protein. You're going to want to eat fruits and vegetables, fiber to help you feel better, like vitamins and all of that kind of stuff. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep and leaning into that. You're going to want to make sure that you are walking and moving your body. That's going to help you kind of aches and cramps and all of those types of things. Like, hey, you know what helps cramps is moving a little bit. You're going to want to do strength training, but not necessarily quite as much, just to kind of, again, you don't want to actually try to push yourself that hard, right? We talked about this in the recovery episode. If you're already not doing well, like you're in a deficit you're trying to climb out of from a strength and recovery perspective, and then you do a really hard workout, then it's going to put you, like your body is not able to recover muscularly. Like your body's not trying to build muscle while you're sick or while you're on your period. Your body is just trying to get through the crap that it's going through. So you need to have a little bit of like space and bandwidth to do that. So it's not like, hey, we got to break down our muscle during this with a really hard workout, but we just do it to move, to get our muscles moving. Maybe some cardio just to, again, get the blood flowing, but it's not all that, but like managing your stress, support, right? And having a strategy, right? The 4 S's: sleep, stress management, support, and strategy. Those, like the strategy piece of it is the make ahead meals. Like, oh man, like I'm so proud of myself that I made that decision. Like, go past me, right? And then you're well set up for success. having support, people that you can talk to, be like, this is terrible, whether it's a coach or not, right? But like, I have clients who will send me a message like, here we go, buckle up. And I'm like, see you in a bit. Like, like, we'll keep me posted, but like, this is going to be a rough couple of days, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Like, don't step on the scale unless you really want to, just focus on the things that you can control. Because again, we are in the spot where this is a long-term game, and it's like sleep. I'll give it like this. It's like sleep, but not quite to the extent of sleep. Like, if you don't figure out how to sleep well, that's a third of your life. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of your life that you are sleeping. So you kind of got to figure it out, because it's going to happen all the time.
Daily.
It's the same thing with your daily. It's the same thing with your period. Like, this is going to happen if you're a woman until you're, everybody's different, right? But you're going to have 15, 20, 25 years of doing this. And then once it's not that, and you're perimenopausal or menopausal, you're going to have different stuff. And again, maybe I'll do an episode about perimenopause and menopause. I think I'll probably, for that one, see if I can get a guest on for it.
That'd be smart.
Because
that's
again,
such a bag of worms.
Yeah, well, and again, like I'm happy to do it, but and again, I work with a lot of clients who are in that phase, but it's also something where, of the subsets of people that I've worked with, that is the smaller of them, it would be that, and there are, again, just so many unique circumstances that come along with that I think it would be worth having a unique voice on it. So all that being said, I've even said along the lines of, like, with the workouts that you're doing on your period, during your period, like, instead of doing 3 sets, do 2 sets. You know what I mean? Like, instead of doing 7, 8 exercises, do 6. Like, just just show up, check the box sometimes. And it's not about being a victim to it. It's actually about having a realistic expectation, right? It would be like, again, not to use kids but it's a little bit like when we show up for a holiday sort of thing, or we go do a thing. It's like, let's have a realistic expectation of what's going to happen here. Like, we can set ourselves up for success the best we can. We can prep the kids, all of that. But like, the idea that we're going to go through this without a tantrum is silly. Like, it's just silly. And like, we're going to have a tantrum on Thanksgiving. We're just going to have one. We're going to probably have multiple. Doesn't mean that we're not well set up for success. Doesn't mean that we don't have strategies in place. If you can set yourself up for success, but you also have to have realistic expectations. But have realistic expectations after you have set yourself up for success, not the other way around, right? Expectations come on the heels of preparation. Oh, that was good.
That was really good.
So there was I'll finish with this. I don't follow college football nearly as closely as I did before I have kids, but I've seen a few things from the Indiana head coach. His name is Kurt Cignetti, I think is how you say it. But he's like kind of come up through the ranks. Like, he, like, Division II, like, he was in a Division I school as a coordinator, like, went to nothing and has worked his way up, and they are undefeated, number 2 school in the country, and they've been terrible for forever. And he took them over 2-3 years ago, and he's like, anytime he does these sideline interviews, like, if you ever watch football, like the girl on the sideline who does the sideline interview, like, what do you think's the most important thing for you to do today, coach? Mm-hmm. And he had a quote, and I'm going to misquote him a little bit, but it was essentially like, what are you expecting going into this big game? He's like, the time for expectations is over. Like,
interesting.
We have done our preparation. Now it's just time to show up and dominate. Like, show up but like, what's a realistic expectation based on the preparation that I've done? And I've given this story a bunch of times, and I was talking to my brother-in-law about it on Sunday night, because we were watching some football, and telling, he was like, do you ever miss coaching? I was like, I miss coaching all the time. Like, I miss coaching all the time. And I miss coaching because I loved being able to like play the game ahead of time that I've, you know, that I've said a lot, where it was like, I would watch film and I'm like, all right, this is what they're going to do. And so this is what we're going to do to exploit what they're going to do. And then I'm like, okay, we're going to do that. And we're going to dominate with that. If they're smart, they'll try to stop it by doing either this or this. So what am I going to do when they do that or that? And then I show up on the game day and I'm like, if this happens, right? If what I expect to happen happens, we're going to win. And then they come out the first play of the game and they're in the formation that I thought that they would be in. And they're set up. They think that they're going to win because they're trying to stop what they think we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, they're going to do this. And I'm like, I got it. This guy's going to be in that spot. So we're just going to run this play instead. We're going to run it a little different. And then they show up first play. They look like that. I'm like, we won. We won the game. Like, my expectations are driven by my preparation. And it's, what does winning look like? What is a reasonable expectation? Now, again, we're going to win. Might not be we're going to score 1,000,000 points, but it's like, we're going to be able to do what we need to do today. Like, what is a reasonable expectation based on the preparation that I've done? But don't let your expectations for how you're going to feel impact your ability to prepare to try to solve it. Like, be in problem solving mode, do something to try to set yourself up for success, and then go from there. That's the game plan, gang. Hopefully this was valuable for you.
I found it so.
And if you would like, check back to a couple episodes that might be helpful for you. One early episode, again in the 30s, I think, of why it's harder for women to lose weight than men. And then also the 2 episodes that we did reviewing the Mel Robbins podcast with Stacey Sims, talks a lot about these types of issues. And then I have my Women's Ultimate Guide to Sustainable Fat Loss, which goes through all of these components as well. If you want that, just message me on Instagram, Women's Guide, or check it out on my website. You can download it there. Appreciate you all listening. Hopefully this was valuable. If you use any of these tips, let me know. Would love to hear from you. And we will talk to you soon. This has been the Fit Parent Podcast.